Hello to my 3 consistent viewers out there in SoundCloud land. This is Fueled by Coffee podcast, bringing you a special COVID-19 episode. Because we live in crazy times, and there is a lot of time to kill. So we are in between season 1 and 2. If you haven't listened to season 1 yet and you enjoy what you hear on this episode, you can go back. I have a playlist of all the season 1 episodes. My personal favorite is episode 2. I talked with my friend John about the Eagles and thrift stores and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Season 2 will be coming. I am currently working on getting a guest list together, planning out recordings. I have some done already, so that's in production. I'm hoping to have that out during the summertime, maybe spring, summertime at the very earliest. I just want to change things up and provide some quality content. But today, for the COVID-19 episode, we are here to talk about a couple things, the current world, and then we're going to get into talking about the Eagles and their off-season moves. I'm here with my friend Aaron, who was on season 1, episode 1, the disaster episode where I forgot windscreens for the microphones, which we luckily have today.
I thought it was the Brown episode.
The Brown month snowpocalypse. Where I talked about the time it took me about 8.5 hours to get home from work. It took Aaron a similar amount of time, maybe longer. And we talked briefly about the Eagles. That was at the beginning of the season. Well, actually halfway through the season. So lots to cover now. But as always, being Fueled by Coffee podcast, we, on each episode, try to have a different type of coffee. So Aaron, what are we drinking today? What have you provided us with?
Today we have the fine Wegmans Instant French Roast.
It's quite tasty, I must admit. With some nice almond milk creamer in it.
Almond milk, French vanilla creamer.
No shits for me. No shits for you. No shits for me. But yeah, the last time you were on, it was mid-November, beginning of November maybe. Any updates in your life since then? Anything new you would like to share?
I don't know, man. I've gone through a couple jobs since then.
Very nice.
The Eagles lost in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
Christmas happened. New Year's happened.
Yeah.
And now the coronavirus.
The hits just keep on coming. First it is Clowney on Wentz. And now it's Corona on humanity. So, job-wise, you've gotten back into the workforce. Thank God.
Yeah.
For you, man.
Thank God.
Exciting. What are you up to now in the working world?
I just recently got a job at in January, I got a job with a small computer repair shop where I was doing hard drive upgrades and RAM upgrades.
Gotcha.
Cleaning up software and hard drives. And then recently I got offered a position with a web design company in Allentown, so I'm currently doing like marketing and advertising for that company.
Very nice. Very cool. And that's more towards like the career, I guess, trail you want to be on?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get involved in software development or web development in a deeper aspect.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully this gets you on the right track. Hopefully something comes of this.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it seems like a good company, and
as long as the world doesn't end in the next. No, I don't think
Corona's thrown a wrench in a lot of people's daily lives.
I know. It's crazy how much you don't realize. I mean, like, at least for me, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed like little things like, hey, let's go to a diner and grab food, or hey, let's go to Q-Mart on a whim. Like, Q-Mart, for those of you who don't know, is a farmer's market in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Very fine people that go there, and you can
wrestle.
The wrestling, wonderful. There is wrestling there once a month, but yeah, it's just a farmer's market. But still, like, I don't know, just kind of trying to stay contained, and like, I don't go out unless I have to. I'm fortunately still working because I bake overnight at a store, but there's so many people that have been out of work for like a week or 2 weeks, and they're like, I want to go back to work now.
It definitely makes you step back and appreciate the things you have or had, and kind of take for granted every day.
For
Just
sure.
like being able to leave and go places with all the restaurants and bars shut down and really everything shut down, like retail shopping and the movies.
Yeah. I guess we're breaking the rules right now. We're not social distancing at the moment. I'm at Aaron's house currently. But I mean, we're both okay right now.
We're 6 feet apart.
I hope so. No. Yeah, at work, that's a big thing now. They have a social distancing, I'm doing air quotes, social distancing message that gets played over the loudspeaker every few minutes, and I don't think people pay attention to that. We have like senior hour now from 6 to 7 people in the senior ages get to come in and do their shopping before everyone else comes in. I've never seen so many people in this store I work at this early. And, I don't know. It's crazy, man, and people just buying everything up, the bread, the peanut butter. There's some chunky peanut butter hate going on.
I've heard that's a popular debate right now, chunky or creamy.
Is it really?
I've seen a couple of people debating it. I don't know if it's...
Well, I think if you go to the store and look at the shelves, you definitely see where people's...
Who's winning, creamy or chunky?
Creamy. People's loyalties lie with creamy. I'll eat either. I'm a peanut butter slob, but peanut butter slut, if you will. But yeah, it's just crazy to see like just the mass hysteria that I'm getting to witness at such a young age. I mean, I'm 22, but like
nobody in their lifetime has ever experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
The last flu pandemic was 1918, which would make somebody who was born in 1918 would be 102 years old today. So if they did live through it, they were an infant or newborn.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't read an article. I saw an article titled something to the effect of like the coronavirus is changing the world, or it's going to change the world the way the world wars did, or the way there was something else after that. I couldn't remember. I don't remember what the third point of the article was, but I mean, I could like the stocks are not doing well. The economy is kind of like, not that I'm into any of that stuff, but it just seems like it's having an effect on everything, everyone, everywhere.
Oh, definitely.
But it's crazy, man. Crazy world we live in.
There's full states that are in mandatory shelter in place. That's wartime.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen to us. I have a feeling it will eventually.
It's trending that way right now.
Yeah.
New Jersey just did it. New York City, I think, has it right now.
Yeah.
Connecticut, Illinois, and possibly Kentucky.
Yeah. How long are they doing that for? Like a week, 2 weeks?
I'm not sure. I know California did it too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say 40 to 50 million people.
It's crazy.
Are under like shelter in place.
It's ridiculous. But I mean, I just feel like people just need to do their part, wash their hands, don't go out unless you have to, like, or if you're feeling sick, don't go to work, don't go out. I've seen a number of people, maybe just precautionary at my job, like customers walking around with gloves and masks on, and I'm like, if you have it, you need to leave.
Right.
Not that I'm trying to discriminate against anyone, but I just...
Well, there's also people wearing those gloves and masks to, like, preemptively.
So that they don't catch it.
So that they don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's more important for the people that have it to be wearing the masks than the other way around.
Yeah. I saw a tweet the other day. I'm going to read a tweet right now about the whole shortage of masks. So this tweet is about stockpiling masks. If you've stockpiled unnecessary amounts of protective masks, please consider donating them to hospitals. They are running out. They need them more than some Karen in her SUV going to Target. Exactly. Which is the truth. But at least in these dark times, there are also lights at the end of the tunnel. There are two guys I watch on YouTube, and they're adult men, and one of the things they do is like go to stores and do toilet paper forts, which is like so juvenile, but it's so much fun to watch. And they just bought this warehouse to make videos in a couple months ago, and they bought a whole bunch of toilet paper from like Walmart and Target, and they made a giant fort in their warehouse, and they said like a week ago, look, there's a shortage going on, let's just go hand out toilet paper for free. So they took all this toilet paper they bought and went and gave it to everyone in the community where they live.
Nice.
Which that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at least
we need more people like that right now.
Exactly. And
instead of the other way around.
The other way around would be, here's a fun story, at the Giant in Hellertown where we live, so there's a meat shortage currently, like at most grocery stores, and I guess overnight they had put out a bunch of maybe like 40 packs of chicken breasts, like the family packages. Usually they're like 4 pounds, and there was, I guess, 40 or 50 people waiting to enter the store at 6 a.m. when they opened, and someone came in and put 13 packages of chicken in their cart. What do you need that much chicken for? You're so selfish. Like,
for the end of the world.
Yeah. Even if the world ends, it's not going to get eaten. Like, people, man.
At least they'll have it.
So, PSA here, do your part. Stay home if you feel sick. Wash your freaking hands. And do not hoard. Well, most stores have limits, but do not try and hoard, because you're a jackass if you do. So, now that we're through that is that's the dark portion of our world that we're living in. The next portion of the podcast, if you don't like football, you may want to shut it off. I've received feedback hate mail from a couple people from my podcast episode with John saying, too much football. Are you kidding me? Football is part of my life, and if you don't like it, that's just too damn bad.
It's the only sport that's still functioning currently.
Yeah, it's barely, well, no, it's functioning pretty strong, I guess. So, Aaron and I, both Philadelphia Eagles fans, devout Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, sponsor me. We're going to start with this. Coronavirus, sponsor me, please. Just kidding. So we've had quite a few moves, and I'm sure there are still more moves to be made, but I feel like the big moves have already been, like the big transactions have already happened. So, I guess release-wise, the big one was Bradham. They said they were releasing him from his contract. I think that was a mistake, personally. I know that there's a money aspect to it, which you touched on briefly earlier. I don't know. I just feel like he was very productive for the team.
I agree. He was for the first, was it 2 years that he's been here? Or 3 years?
Was he on the Super Bowl team?
He was, I believe.
Okay, so then that would have been 3 years?
So every year except last year. I think he was out with injury last year. He just wasn't as productive as could be.
Mm-hmm.
He was okay when he was in, but if you look at the talent that was around him, I mean, he looked like a superstar compared to Nate Gary or whoever else was at linebacker. I mean, it was a rotating door position again.
Yeah. I read that Nate Gary had the most like missed tackles of the season or something like that for maybe just for that position. But there's like a statistic that said he had so many missed tackles that. But I thought Nate Gary did okay.
I was definitely okay with how he played.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a body.
Yeah.
And we needed bodies there.
Oh, God. Let's not even get into that. The last time we spoke, there were some larger injuries, but not to the extent that we were at the end of the season.
Right. That was wild, man.
But we'll get to that at the end of these free agency moves. So then we have the guys that we re-signed. Jalen Mills, which I feel like when he shows up and he's motivated, he's been good. I just think he gets burned on double moves. As many people on Twitter say, I don't know. He just gets burned a lot, but
I just wish he would be less cocky and attitudey.
That's my problem with him, yeah.
Because he doesn't back up the...
Yeah.
He doesn't really earn that right to wag his finger all the time. Yeah. But still does.
It may be an incomplete pass that's overthrown, and he'll be there wagging. If he's in the vicinity, he'll wag his finger. But no, I hope he shows up next year. I really do. I do like Jalen Mills. I think they're moving him to Malcolm Jenkins' position, which I've heard he's meant to be a safety. I don't know.
Supposedly.
So
we'll see how it works out. All the radio pundits are skeptical about it at this point because he doesn't really have any safety experience. But
yeah,
they just brought in, is it Will Parks from Denver?
Yeah, Denver.
So he's gonna, I guess, be the mentor guy. He's a little bit older, but kind of show him the ropes, I guess.
Yeah. Also a Philly guy, so another plus. Re-signed Rodney McLeod, again, safety position, just trying to... I feel like McLeod's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's solid.
He's solid.
He's a good guy, good team guy, and I think he does quite a bit in the community as well, so...
Another plus.
I like him.
Hassan Ridgeway, defensive tackle. I feel like from what I saw last year, he was pretty good. I'd say he deserves... I think this is probably going to be like a prove-it year because there's a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see when the whole rotation is healthy. Fletcher Cox,
like
Malik Jackson. He went down. Is it Jackson?
Malik Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, he went down. I don't even think he played a regular season game. Maybe one.
I think he played
snaps,
week 1.
Just to have that rotation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, our past
depth again, because Super Bowl year we had depth at the defensive line position, and last year we really didn't have too much going for us.
It was impressive though to see, like, even with the shortages, our pass rush was really strong last year. Well, I guess the run defense, but even the pass rush was okay too. Like there were a couple of games where they really got to the quarterback, broke up the pocket,
especially towards the end of the year.
Yeah. That's the one
it's
thing.
Just something they need to do more consistently, I think.
I hate how the last 2 years it's been like a have to win team. Like, why can't we just jump out ahead and then kind of coast to the finish? You know?
I mean, last year especially, they got down every single game.
Yeah.
Before halftime, they were down more than 10 points for at least the first half of the season.
Yeah.
The trend continued, it might not have been 10 points, but it seemed like they were always coming back instead of hanging on to a lead.
Yeah. And then I have a gripe with this re-signing, Nate Sudfeld.
Because he's a very proven backup quarterback who's played many, many games and deserves to be the highest, if not one of the highest paid backup quarterbacks in the league.
I don't even think he's played a full game.
Especially with the backups who are going to be coming on the market. Mm-hmm. Cam Newton now potentially a backup quarterback. Yeah. Jameis Winston now potentially a backup quarterback. I can't think of any of those off the top of my head.
Yeah. I feel like most of the quarterbacks were signed. But yeah, Nate Sudfeld, man, I don't know. There are many people I know, namely one, who is very upset that they're allowing him to wear number 7. A big Michael Vick fan.
I guess I understand, like, the loyalty. They've had him for a while. He's been a good team guy. He's filled in when needed, which was like maybe 4 games. But I just don't think he's proven anything. I don't know what his contract is for this time, but I know he was $20 million for the last contract.
Yeah,
which is absurd for a guy who's never really done anything in the NFL.
That's my issue. He's one of like the highest paid backups, and he's not, like you said, he's not proven. So
that may be different now. I'm not sure what.
I mean, like maybe he's learned a lot in the last year. Because when was the last time he filled in? Was it when Foles went down in 2018, the Redskins?
For real game action, yes. Yeah. Then he played like I think 2 preseason games, and he got his injury in the second preseason game, and then didn't see the field at all.
I mean, maybe I hope not. Maybe Wentz will go down at some point, not permanently, but just like for half a game or something, and maybe Sudfeld will come out and light the world on fire. But I seriously hope not. Wentz he's already like struggling enough just with people not accepting him. Even after this past season, he was so good. I really could see like him developing as a leader. And I also, one of our releases, or one of the guys we let walk, Malcolm Jenkins, I read that was also it wasn't so much a money move, it was more so to show that the locker room is Carson's, because Malcolm was like the leader. He was always the one doing all like the hype stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, Carson, man, poor guy. I feel so bad for him. He did like once he hit his stride this season, he did really well,
especially with what he was working with.
Exactly. List of guys that we let walk: Jason Peters, otherwise known as the king of false starts; Malcolm Jenkins, which I'm a little upset about because he was consistent, very consistent.
I think everyone is a little upset about that. He played every single game that he was here. He never missed a single snap.
Yeah. But, I mean, hopefully our safeties can make up for that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Aguilar, goodbye. We don't even need to talk about that.
Aguilar.
We don't even need to talk about that. Grugier Hill, I feel like he was good, but he just... Wasn't he hurt a lot?
He was good, and he was around for a while, but He was hurt at one point. I just he was consistent again with a rotating door of linebackers.
Mhm.
We never really had anybody to compare to, basically.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was available and consistent was a positive.
Potential walk away Corey Clement, I'd be okay with that. I feel like he's just another part of the Super Bowl team that people are holding on to.
Injury prone as well. He the last 2 seasons he was injured very early on and never really got back to play.
And that honestly, like, and I know I may catch some hate for this, I would have rather we kept Josh Adams over Corey Clement. I know Adams fumbled twice in the preseason, but like when he found the running room, he was good.
He showed flashes of being able to do it.
And maybe him being in the right room of running backs, like with Sanders and Boston Scott, maybe he would have thrived, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Corey Clement. Jordan Howard, very disappointed to see him go. Just the fact that he was one of those backs he could see drag 4 or 5 people behind him and get almost 10 yards. Amazing. So sad to see him go. I know Pete liked him a lot. Aaron's brother.
Pete loved him.
We watched the Lions game together. We had like a little viewing party, and the whole time Pete was
he was all about Jordan Howard,
yelling about Miles Sanders and how they need to put Howard in. And every time Howard came in and got yardage, he was like, "See, there you go. He's a big bruising back."
Listen, I like Jordan Howard, and I would have loved to see him re-sign, but Miles Sanders proved himself in the first year that he's an every down back, and Boston Scott proved as a very good backup. The fact that he was hurt for the last half of the season with what was reported as a stinger was probably concerning, and I'm sure I don't know what the details of his contract are in Miami, but he probably got more money than we would have been able to offer him.
I feel like the Eagles were almost a little too cautious with I know their medical staff was trash. I heard they cleaned house and they have a whole new medical staff. But yeah, it was reported even when Howard was cleared to come back, they didn't let him play at all. He just hung out on the side.
They used him as a decoy, and then I think the first game he was cleared, which maybe he wasn't ready to come back, I'm not sure, but he played one play, and it was just like a decoy play.
Yeah. But
I think everybody knew that, too.
Yeah.
But he never really came back.
Yeah.
Like, they just shut him down at one point.
I think if they would have had his help against Seattle in the playoffs, I've noticed this past season when the Eagles established the run, those are the games that they did really well in and they won. Whereas when it's just Doug running the same 3 screen passes, or like a screen pass and then just passing constantly, that's when we get behind.
Right.
Because it's either going to go to Ertz or it's going to go to, just getting away from the run. Or the one thing I've noticed people bitched about that I agree with, it was always Sproles run, Sproles pass, Sproles run. Okay, 3 and out. All right.
Yep.
I love Darren Sproles, but
so did Doug. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Darren Sproles as much as the next person, but
they just relied on him a little too heavily.
He wasn't a 3-down back, I don't think.
No.
Not at this point. At what was he, 40? Was he 40?
43? 40-something,
No, 43 is his number, right?
Yeah. Late 30s, maybe. I don't know.
He was up there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really performing to where he used to when we got him from the Saints.
Yeah. Ronald Darby, I'm okay with him going. He got burned too much.
Same thing, injury prone. He missed the last at least 5 or 6 games in each of the last 2 seasons due to injury. When he was in there, still wasn't consistent, and there's a lot of things that go into, like, the guys not getting to the pass rush, so they have to cover deeper down the field. It's a more difficult cover, but
I know Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are great receivers, but I think if you go and watch this, like the highlights from the Vikings game, that's where a lot of the holes in the secondary were very visible.
Oh yeah.
Or even I remember the Falcons game, they kept showing the stats of how many yards Darby was allowing, like crazy amounts of yardage.
He never lived up to his contract.
Yeah.
What his contract is worth.
Yeah. Tim Jernigan, I guess he is a free agent. I'd be disappointed to see him go because I feel like when he's good, he's white hot, and he does well. And I just like his personality. He's got like he's just got like a personality to him. Like the mic'd up from the Bears game, there's a clip of him on the sidelines going, "Ice that ass." Like, it's just, I just feel like when he's got like a swagger to him that I like.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't hurt to have depth at the defensive line. He hasn't proven that he can't play.
Yeah,
I mean, he's always been a solid defensive lineman and been able to get to the quarterback and do his fair share.
And then Big V signed with the Lions, which I'm indifferent on that. I had said like halfway through the season, trade Big V, please get rid of him.
I'm definitely okay with it. I'm interested to see how the offensive line performs this year. Yeah. Especially if Dillard's going to be the starting left tackle. Yeah. I hope Brandon Brooks can come back and be fully healthy again. Yep. Like, they're not bad. They just need those guys to fill. Like, we don't have as much depth anymore. I think I saw Wisniewski signed somewhere else.
Yeah, he signed with...
Not that he was...
Where was he, the Chiefs?
Great. It might be the Chiefs.
I saw he signed somewhere else too.
And Big V gone, so those are two guys who would always step up and fill in. So now we got to find their replacements, basically. Yeah. Especially we had offensive line injuries last year, so it concerns me to not have backups to those guys.
Conspiracy time: coronavirus hit the Eagles before it hit everyone else. It was just injury.
Last fall.
It wasn't a sickness. It was just causing people to get injured. I don't know. Conspiracy time. I'm hoping the new medical staff, or even like I feel like that has to do with like weight training and stuff too. Like the guys aren't training properly. Or my theory. Okay, here's another conspiracy. I read Doug Peterson's book that he wrote after the Super Bowl win, and every Saturday, the day before the game, they have like they have like their final little game plan that they run through presentation, and then he lets them have ice cream sundaes. And I think that's the reason why they're all getting hurt, because they're eating too much ice cream. May sound crazy.
One day a week, right?
But hopefully the injuries are toned down this year, because good God, it was brutal last year. Every time it was someone new. I remember when Sanders went down in like week 16 or something, and we were like, good God, like, what are we doing now?
Can't catch a break.
Like Sanders, if we lost him, man, I was afraid of that, because he was such a star all season. It just seemed like guys were getting white hot and then just getting hurt. I don't know. And then new signings, either through trade or through free agency. Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle from the Steelers. From what I've heard, he's one of the highest rated tackles in the league. So, I don't know.
I will always accept defensive linemen. Yeah. I think it's gonna create a good competition aspect, right? As far as competing for starting jobs and just like I said, Jim Schwartz seems to like that rotation thing, and the year they won the Super Bowl, they had a really good rotation. Both lines 1 and 2 came in there and just got at the quarterback, and I think you'll see that again. Adding depth to that position, will only help that. Right, like getting a full rotation of 2 lines basically keeps them fresh. Yeah. Jatavis Brown, I hope I pronounced that correctly, a linebacker from the Chargers, and we just discussed earlier. I heard he was really good his rookie season, and then just kind of didn't really show up the last couple. You said he wasn't really... Yeah, from what I could find, I want to say he's been in the league 4 years now, and what I saw was the first 3 he was very productive, and his numbers looked good compared to other linebackers. And then last year, I think it was a sprained ankle or some kind of ankle injury that took him out, and then when he never really came back into the rotation, he kind of got moved to special teams, and it seemed like they moved on from him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's a good addition. Maybe he'll work under our system. Maybe he'll find kind of he'll gel.
Considering who's been the linebackers for the last few years, I'm open to any new, again, competition, just kind of raising the bar for the other people around them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in the draft, we could draft someone 3rd, 4th round. We have a couple. Well, I think we drafted one of our 3rds away. But, a little bit later in the draft, maybe someone to develop. I don't know.
Yeah, we traded a 3rd and a 5th for... Is he next on your list?
He'll be last. I want him to be the big...
Okay.
Big and...
But we had another 3rd and 5th.
Mm-hmm. So Will Parks, safety we touched on earlier. Philly guy. I guess you said he'll be like a mentor.
Yeah, from what all the radio pundits are saying, he's coming in to be the mentor and guide for Jalen Mills in the transition to safety.
So hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully, I mean, defense, we could always use help. And then the big one, we have had holes in the secondary for the last 2 years consistently. And I mean, even if you look at the Super Bowl, Tom Brady threw for over 500 yards. He toasted us. But Darius Slay, we traded, what'd you say, a third and a fifth to the Lions, plus guarantee of a contract extension, which we gave him, or a reworked contract, whatever it was. Paid him, I'd say, I think he's the highest paid corner in the league.
It's either 16.5 or 16.7 million.
It's crazy
for the first year, and maybe similar for the next year. Is it 2 or 4? I can't remember.
I can't remember the deets on that. But
he got like 0.2 million more than Byron Jones.
Yeah,
which made him the highest paid cornerback.
I mean, from what every Lions fan I've seen commenting on Eagles stuff has said that he's consistent and he's really, really good.
Yeah,
so
his numbers have proved that he's worth it.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of money for the position.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be worth it. People are comparing it to signing Asante Samuel. They're saying this is the next best quarterback we've had since him.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
We'll be in trouble on the other side still.
Yeah. What, offensively or? No,
the other like other
the other side of the field. Yeah.
The second cornerback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Maddox and LeBlanc, they're solid. I don't know if LeBlanc is a free agent or if he has another year on it.
I think he has another year.
Whenever he played,
he's listed on the roster still.
Yeah. Whenever he played, he was shutting stuff down real good. So I hope they keep him. And Maddox, same thing. He was real good all season.
They're both solid. Much better than their high draft picks, Russell Douglas and Sidney Jones.
Yeah. But
and I guess they're shopping Rasul, but supposedly because he was the later pick, and Sidney Jones has more potential.
Oh, I forgot
because he was a higher pick.
Jones. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. It should be It's always interesting to be an Eagles fan because
I saw a stat the other day for Russell Douglas. He was ranked 90th out of 113.
Oh no!
At the position. I can't remember who the ranking was.
Hear that, John? He's not worth it.
I like him. I like him more than Sidney Jones, but I just think the numbers don't lie, and they both haven't panned out. So we should kind of cut our losses while we don't have to pay him still.
Yeah. Speaking of cutting losses, Alshon Jeffrey, also not worth anything, but I don't know. I guess the new CBA is going to make it easier for us to just let him go because we can split the dead cap over 2 seasons, but I don't know. I've heard people say we should trade him, and like, what are we going to get for him? He's injured, which is going to go well into next season. I've heard for half the season potentially, and then he's a snake. No one wants toxicity in their locker room, you know.
I'd say at this point, I'll take whatever I can get for him if he'll cover some of the cap or late round picks.
Yeah,
I mean, he served his purpose here. It was probably more expensive than what we wanted, or we wanted more production for the amount that we paid him, but I mean, he had a great first season with the Super Bowl, and since then he's been a consistent player. He just has been injured and supposedly has been the locker room cancer.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because he did show up for a couple seasons, but I don't know. I'm hoping we draft someone good. I think we should trade a bunch of picks. Like trade our first, maybe our third. I knew what we had draft wise, but right now I'm drawing a blank. I definitely think we should trade to move up because the top 3 receivers I read are not going to be there. They're not all going to be there after like pick 15. So we definitely need to snag one of them. There's also a guy from Penn State they're looking at who knows Miles Sanders.
Yeah, was it KJ Hamler?
Yes.
Yeah, he was really good. I kind of like the prospect of him. I'm not sure size-wise how he matches up. He was definitely fast. He could kind of learn under Deshaun and be that speed guy down the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're looking at drafting. I know we need a receiver first. I think we should do round 1 receiver, round 2 probably a corner if we can get someone for the secondary. Or I've heard they were going to draft this guy second round potentially. I don't know. We definitely screwed up royally with drafting a receiver. Didn't we draft Arcega-Whiteside in the second round last year? And who was still available?
DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. I hate that guy. After what he did in the playoffs, he's a dick.
He's a good dick, though.
That's what she said. So let's talk now. Second half of the season last year. Let's wrap up with that. So it was we were probably like halfway through when we started recording. That would have been after the first Dallas loss, the embarrassment in Dallas. That was before the Dolphins, though. So let's pick up at the Dolphins. We were 5-6.
We just skipped that one.
We were 5-6, and I went to record a podcast episode that day after halftime. We were winning. I think we were winning, and I thought, okay, we're gonna win this. This is we've been okay so far. I left, and 2 hours later, I check my phone and I see that we lost to the freaking Miami Dolphins, which they are my pity team. I don't know if you have a pity team, but I have a pity team that I support because they're awful. That used to be the Browns. I love the Browns, but I'm a Baker Mayfield guy. But I mean, they're not as awful now. I mean, they went 6-10, but at least it wasn't 1-15 or whatever. But yeah, it was a hard loss. So we lost to the Dolphins. Patriots and Seahawks were both very disappointing.
Yeah, because both winnable games and both were lost.
Yeah. But again, people were dropping left and right. I think, with the whole receiver problem, I think we need someone fast who can learn under Deshaun. I think Deshaun should mentor someone this season. Because then Arcega-Whiteside, they said, is like the next Jeffrey. He's tall. He doesn't get lots of yards after catch, but he can...
Yeah, he was definitely compared as the guy who can go up and get the jump ball.
Yeah.
But from what I heard, and maybe this will be fixed with a new wide receiver coach, but he wasn't really picking it up as quickly as they had hoped, and
I also
was running incorrect routes, and
I saw that
things that were affecting either how many targets he got or how efficient he was.
I think Dan Orlovsky did an analysis of he ran like a slant route, and instead of staying straight on, he kind of
veered off his route a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins were after the bye. I was way off.
Oh.
It was Patriots, Seahawks, Dolphins.
All disappointing losses. Oh yeah, because then there was the divisional stretch of where we basically had to win out, and being 5-7 and losing to the Dolphins, that's not a good look.
Lowest point of the season.
And at that point, we still had
up 20 points. We were up, I want to say 31-10 at halftime.
Mm-hmm. That's when I left and to check my phone and see 37-31. It
gave up a touchdown to the punter.
I saw that
trick play. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick burned the secondary for
the second year in a row.
Second half, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And at that point, didn't we still have all our starting receivers minus Deshaun? Did we still have Aguilar and Jeffrey? And
I believe so.
Dallas Goedert.
I don't know about Jeffrey. I think Aguilar was still around though.
Yeah. But then the Giants on December 9th. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. We had a little outing.
Was that the Monday night game or Sunday night?
It was Monday night. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings for someone's birthday. We all had a little get-together, and that was...
Eli Manning's last start.
So frustrating to watch. Because it's,
I think they went up 17-0 at half.
Yeah. Or it was 17-3. It was something.
Oh, we didn't score. I don't think.
Because I remember we left shortly, either after half or sometime in the third quarter, very early on. We all left, talked in the parking lot for a bit. I get home and John calls me and he's like, dude, we won the game. I was like, what are you talking about? We were down. He said,
down 17-0 to back up, washed up Eli Manning. I fell asleep in the third quarter for a little bit, and actually in the fourth quarter, and I woke up for the overtime drive.
Yeah.
And got to see the highlights, and apparently we won the game because of screen passes. That's how we played the whole second half.
That's
was Boston
crazy.
Scott screen passes.
Boston Scott, Sproles Jr.
Yeah. But we pulled out the win nonetheless. Carson let us down in overtime for the touchdown.
If you don't think Carson's clutch, watch the last 4 games of the season.
Exactly. You can say working with nobody.
You can say it's just, we were against bad teams, but you can see they gave us a run for our money. So the NFC East was a dumpster fire this year. Let's be real. But Eagles Redskins, that was one of the most exciting games I think I've watched in recent memory.
I watched that one walking around the mall.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember. I guess it was Christmas shopping or something. It was pretty close to Christmas there.
Yeah, it was a baking day for us.
I was just sitting in the mall, carrying my phone around, watching it on NBC Sports.
Yeah. Greg Ward. They need to bring him back as a slot receiver, I definitely think.
I think he'll make, just because of lack of receiver right now, I think he's got a spot.
Yeah.
And he proved himself at the end of the season that he can be the slot guy and be kind of a backup.
It really shows too. I went to Lincoln Financial Field, I think it was the week after we lost in the playoffs, and they had Greg Ward jerseys in the store.
Yeah.
Which was, to me, that shows he's probably around for another year at least. Eagles Redskins, great finish of the game, great fade.
Again, all the way down to the wire. It was never, the score doesn't show how close the game actually was, because the last drive, they were the Greg Ward touchdown in the corner. Redskins got the ball back, drove down. I can't remember if they kicked a few. Didn't they score on that one? And then it was like a 1-point game, and then it was an interception returned for a touchdown, which is why it looks like it was 10 points instead of 7. But it came down to the last couple seconds of the game.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where I had anxiety, major anxiety at the end of the game. Cowboys-Eagles, fuck the Cowboys. I will always say that. Pardon my French.
That was a great game, too.
Yeah. I was just happy that we were able to shut them up, because they had gone 3-0 against us in the last 2 seasons, or was it 4-0? Didn't they win the last encounter in the 2017 season? So it was nice to shut them up. Again, Miles Sanders.
Too many injuries in that one, though.
Yep. Zach Ertz. Dallas Goedert showed up, though. He showed up all season.
He's definitely solid. He dropped a couple key passes at the beginning of the year that really would have helped.
Yeah.
He didn't shine in the first Dallas game. He was the reason we got down 2 touchdowns right away.
Look at Sanders, though. He had 2 fumbles in the Lions game. Did not fumble for the rest of the season. So I read about that. Quick diversion. Apparently, they made him do bear crawls the length of the field for each fumble. So to and from, and then to and from. So after that, he said, I'm not fumbling anymore. Yeah. And it showed. And then Giants. Eagles won to win the division. That was another exciting game. But again, towards the end of the game, the Giants just got sloppy, and we just took advantage.
The Boston Scott slow spin move.
Yeah. Amazing. Touchdown pass to Deontay Burnett, no-name receiver. Wentz just making it happen. And that's, you could just really see Wentz's leadership abilities, solidify this season with all they went through. Made the playoffs, even though we shouldn't have. And then had another disappointing 17-9 loss to the Seahawks, which, it's funny.
With a backup quarterback after 7 plays.
Yeah, Clowney, I absolutely detest. People will say, I don't think he should have gotten, a suspension or kicked out of the game. I think he should have just gotten flagged. No, that was very blatant what he was doing. And people say, well, he was just trying to tell Wentz, well, don't run, don't scramble. But I don't know.
There's different ways to do that besides a blindside spear to the helmet.
Yeah. People say it wasn't intentional. I don't know. I thought
even if it's not intentional, it's still a dirty hit.
Yeah. Either way, Josh McCown came in. His hamstring died for Philadelphia. God bless that man. I hope he's.
I can't walk still.
Yeah, our 80-year-old quarterback. That's how I was explaining it to someone. I said our 80-year-old quarterback filled in. I think he did well for not playing a game since. The season before, even? Or was he a backup the season before?
I think he got in for a set in Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And possibly, I feel like there was one other game where Carson went out for a series or something, and he had to hop in.
But Josh McCown, I mean, I think he'd make a good quarterbacks coach, especially if he watched All or Nothing. He just seemed to be a really good mentor.
Oh, definitely. He coaches his son's high school team in North Carolina. He was flying back and forth to coach and play during the season.
So hopefully he'll be back in a coaching role. I guess we'll find out. But Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know. Crazy year, fun year. Hopefully I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this year.
Yeah.
Whenever that might be.
Yeah, hopefully it starts on time. I mean, August is a long way away, so hopefully the world stabilizes by then. But anyways, we're going to wrap this long chat up about COVID-19 and people hoarding food and the Eagles and all that fun stuff. So Aaron, this was fun. Glad to have you back on the pod.
Definitely, man. Thanks for having me again.
It was a lot of fun.
Keep bringing me on.
Yeah, one future episode. Hopefully, season 2, get you and Pete, Aaron's brother Pete, on, talk about their ventures with their band Above the Mendoza that they used to run around in. Used to go to those shows. Lots of fun. Got lots planned for season 2. If you liked what you heard here, I know it was a lot of football. You can go check out the other episodes where I cover things like diners and thrift stores and books and reading and more football. My old job at a grocery warehouse. You can go check out all the old episodes. If you like what you hear, drop me a follow. I got some more content on the way. And remember, in this time, wash your hands. Stay home if you feel sick. Keep 6 feet apart. Wipe your butt when you can, because there is no toilet paper currently, or there's very little toilet paper. But just stay safe, and hopefully we can bounce back and beat this COVID-19 crisis. But as always, thank you for listening, and check in for more episodes in the near future.